What up, what up, what up, man? We back. You're rocking with your host, Deshaun, a.k.a. Son of a Jones, one half of Enveonline.
And his very loud spoken partner, Asar Johnson.
Yes, you are, man. We going to get to that.
Yeah.
Shout out to anybody who's tuned in.
Okay.
We've been going for a little bit.
Facts.
My apologies. COVID took me down a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was better for me to not spread my germs and get other people infected. So
Yes, we thank you for that, sir.
I sat my old behind down for a few weeks and made sure I wasn't contagious because I ain't feel comfortable coming around to the studio and acting like I wasn't sick but coughing on people and stuff like that. So, yeah, we've been going for like 3 weeks, close to a month, but we back, man.
All right. Yes, sir.
Enveonline podcast where we do a lot of topics from professional sports, college sports, pop culture, hip hop, all of the above, man. So we're going to get into it today.
Okay.
We're going to start off jumping straight into it, talking about college. So I know you wanted to talk about this team because we haven't touched on them before. So we're going to start with Siena.
Okay. We can start with the Siena women's team.
Shout out to Siena. Are they in the first place in the MAC or the second place?
They're in the fourth place right now. But they were in second, but they took like a 2-game loss slide. Then they won their last 2 games. There was the game-winning shot against Niagara, and then there was the game against Manhattan that they won. And then that was without Brown, who had a concussion at the time. And then today they lost to Iona. And Iona though. So, they're right now they're in the fourth place. That means they're in the top 4 in the conference,
which is tough.
And they got a winning record. It's like 16-10 overall. So I think that, with Siena, let me say this, Ken, because have we? I know we talked about them before, but have we went down the timeline of everything that
we haven't?
Okay,
we really haven't touched on.
To give you an idea, Coach Jabir, he took over. I want to say 2 seasons ago, and when he took over, it was kind of like everything was right after COVID. He took over, so like a season ago, and he came to change the culture, which it needed to be changed because the people that were there before, not all of the individuals that was up there, and yes, I'm going to speak on it because I'm very outspoken, or the certain individual that was running it, they were very horrible representatives,
toxic. They
were very not good. They were very disrespectful. I think that the players were not responding. I think there was a reason why. And
we're talking about the old regime.
Yeah. And it's not all the staff. It was just
not all.
One particular person.
Just one particular person.
Right. And once that person was relieved of their duties, which was well long overdue, Coach Jabir came in and he came with an iron fist. It's not how it's looked. But I think it's, he's old school, so it's gonna come off as very harsh. They were competitive last year, but I don't think they were ready yet. That's just the words. It's not they weren't capable of winning, but they just weren't ready yet. Now this season you come in, you got a lot of the freshmen that are in their second year, Baby Jackson, Vontel, Patel, Brown. I'm missing somebody else in here.
As far as freshman or overall?
Overall.
You got Teresa. I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm just going to say her first name, the guard, Teresa.
The one that be dribbling?
Dribbling, hitting shots, everything.
I'm calling her female,
she's very ill.
The female dribble god.
That's Elisa. That's the one who hit the full-court shot.
Okay, yeah. Yo,
she's ill.
Every time
I was about to tweet, we need to see her at Rucker Park, man.
Every time she starts dribbling, it's like she be smiling because she knows she's like, oh, you want to come take a ride with me?
It's like
I'm gonna take you up and down the court. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know she probably not familiar with the New York culture, but she need to take a trip down to Rucker Park. Somebody put her up on that.
I love how she play. But this year they're on a new level. And you can see the growth. It just like they took the next step. And I think the next step is, it's like when I always go back to what Coach Mullen said, because it didn't make sense when she first got here, but it makes sense now. She's like, yo, your goal is to get into that top 4. When you get into that top 4 in your conference, it's coming with college basketball. When you get in that top 4, that's where you want to be. You know what I mean? And right now, Siena, with the season winding down, that's exactly where they are.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they've been majority. Now that I think about it, they've been up there. Like they've slowly creeped up into the top 4. Like they one point were at the top, the next point they were in the second place, and right now at their worst they're in 4th. So they're in the top 4. So Jabir,
that top 4 is so competitive because one loss will knock you down a few notches. So.
Facts, and it's they have literally changed the culture. What I feel bad is that some of the players like and I'll shout them out next episode, but there were some players that are still going to school there, but they're no longer playing. It's just a sad thing that I wish they were under Jabir than they were under that old regime, because I think that they really. They would be in the top spot. Let's just say that. There's some players in there that you saw it, and their time was wasted with somebody that wasn't going to get them to where they're going to get to now. So, salute to them, salute to those players. I think that they're going to do things, because a lot of people looking at the Siena men, and you know what they're doing, everybody's supporting them. But let's look at the women. I remember at a time when I would go into that gym, and then it would be, it looked like there was like maybe 20 people, man. And it looked like it was always sometimes like it was something where it was just, I don't know, it just looked like it didn't look right. Like they had to have a something going, like something for cancer or senior day, or they would get a big outcome. But for just the team, no, a lot of people wouldn't come. Now they coming. People are coming to see them because they have a high expectation, and then the games are fun to come see and watch. So, minus the little distraction that had happened, they're okay. You know what I mean? They got back on track. They're right where they need to be.
10-6 in the MAC conference.
And what happens when they get in the tournament, who knows?
I say because they're very well coached, very balanced team from the freshmen on up to the juniors. I said this in Twitter sphere. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if both the men and the women from Siena take the MAC. Mm-hmm. You can find that tweet. It's out there. I tweeted it a couple times. I like how well balanced both teams are, but sticking with the women. I was talking to somebody, and they said, they have a lot of youth, which is true. Mm-hmm. Sometimes all you need is a little luck, man.
Yeah.
Get the right matchup, and matchups are very important.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they lost to Iona twice, which is tough. But like I said, this game, I don't know how much stock I can put into a team shooting 75% for the entire game with 25 turnovers. Mm-hmm. And it's no disrespect. They're 14-1 in the conference. They deserve their respect. Mm-hmm. Iona is a very well-coached team. And who knows, they might be there to take it. But I think tournament time, Coach Jabir is going to have them being more disciplined, because that's what they talked about the first time they lost, the attention to detail. And I could see them giving Iona a good fight.
Facts. Super facts. Yeah. So, like I said, they'll be at the top. I think they'll be there in the end of the MAC tournament. Definitely, all jokes aside, they'll be there. They'll be there. But salute to them, what those young ladies are doing, and Coach Jabir and his staff is doing. Like I said, in another future podcast, we'll go down and list the names. Of everybody we need to go to salute them, because they definitely have done their thing. And also, too, as a side note, but I'll wait till later to talk about that. Shouts out to Billy Chambers.
Okay, fill me in on that.
She's the women's basketball coach for Iona, young black basketball coach. She's a female coach. She went through some tough times at Iona, and I think at one point they only had one win. So
can we not to sidetrack, but I want us to talk about this with young coaches who come into their conference and the fan base. And I'm not talking about one specific conference. I'm not talking about one school. I'm talking in general. And people think that within the first 2 years, you're supposed to be title contenders.
Yeah.
Because
facts.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
but I'm just putting this out in general.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the tough times, you saw it because we was following Albany when Coach Mullen took over.
Yeah.
So we saw the tough times.
Yeah.
And you seen it with Iona with you was just about to go into. So I definitely want you to touch on that.
Well, she had like one win. It just looked bad. Like it looked like there was no hope. And then like, you know, this season she just like flipped the whole script around. And they're like in the top spot. I think they won like 14 straight. Yeah.
14-1 in the MAC. Yeah. Very, very disciplined coach. So I want to salute Iona coach as well.
Yeah. And she was there. She's been there 3 or 4 years. And I think maybe longer than that. I don't know the whole track record, but I'm pretty sure because I know she was there when the other coach that just was horrible for Siena, horrible representation for him, for the women's team. She was there when they was there. And she got that. You know what? I think it's been 4 years.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because it touches on something that we'll probably talk about somewhere in this podcast.
So she really did her thing, and salute to her. Because I seen something on social media too. I'll give her, like I said at the end, we'll do a shout out to some of the coaches, you know, that look like us, and give her an update on them. Because I think none of this being talked about as a side shot in what I was inspired and what I'm going to do. You know, I just see some people, they take credit for doing something that the reality of it is they're not really doing anything for it, you know. But I'll leave that there. We'll go back.
Say your name again.
Billy Chambers.
Shout out to head coach Billy Chambers from the Iona women's basketball team. Mm-hmm. Much respect to you.
Facts. Super facts.
So on the next collegiate level, you want to go into UAlbany or do you want to stay at Siena?
I'm going to UAlbany.
Okay. So, men's or women's? You know, I just went to the men's game yesterday.
It's up to you because you kind of more a basketball guru.
Okay, we'll talk about the women's first. So, first place in the American East. They still first place?
Yeah, they beat UMBC last night.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Great Danes University of Albany, a school one of the schools that we cover in the American East. So, to me, it's a marathon, not a sprint, will be a representation of them because everybody knows they started off very slow with the injuries, and coach kept saying we just got to get healthy around the right time. Now they got healthy around the right time, still running through teams, got a little dinged up, but they're still pulling off wins. What do you see from this team and how well they're being coached right now, even being a little dinged up?
With the UAlbany coach?
I'm just talking about overall, not just the coach, the team.
The team is, just the team is just in sync. The culture is in sync. The rhythm is in sync. I think you just got so much talent across the board. You just don't even, I don't know what to say. And let me also say this. It also goes to what Coach Mullen does because she knows, like the coach previous there was before her who had Amani Tate. Not Coach A, but the one after that, McNamee. Coach Mullen knows how to put players in certain positions at certain critical times of the game. That's the difference as opposed to last year, they were better than everybody, whereas opposed to this year, even though they're still better than everybody or at the top, teams are giving their best shot, and she knows how to manage and coach through it to maneuver it to get their team to be, at the top. So she knows how to put Lucia in certain situations. She knows how to put
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, but you just named a name that I don't think gets a lot of credit. And this is not to discredit any other players. I just want to give flowers. Lucia, that last game we were at, the defensive masterpiece that Lucia and the other team, again, I'm not taking away from no other players. I'm just showing love.
That was Binghamton, right?
Yeah, against Binghamton. The defensive plays that Lucia put together in the stretch, in the clutch when the game was on the line. Man, crazy.
Yeah.
Very grounded, very disciplined, but go ahead.
No. Like she knows how to, Coach Mullen knows how to put them in certain positions. Like, she'll put Kayla in. She knows how to put Grace Heaps. Like she'll put Grace Heaps in. She keeps Heaps in there to keep everything up tempo. And when they need a shot, Heaps makes it. You have Heine, you have Hangerstrine that comes in. It's like it's a consistent flow, but she knows how to put them all in at the right time so that the game goes the way it's supposed to go. Even when they're down, she knows how to coach them. That's a great coach. That's signs of a great coach. Definitely. Like some coaches I done seen, like it gets down and they don't know what to do. So they just leave their players in. But she knows to say, hey, all right, let's see it. Because I think there was one, I hope Coach Mullins doesn't get upset about this. There was one point, I don't know what they were doing on that last play for Binghamton and taking them to overtime, but somehow Lucia got on one of the guards.
Yep. And
the guard that is food. Yeah. So she's like trying to guard the guard. I was guard Swan, she went right past her.
Yeah.
So, Coach Mullen, I don't know what happened with that, but once the overtime came, it was a wrap. And she stuck with Lucia, and Kayla did what she knows how to do. And who's another one? Kayla's just a step above everybody. I mean, it's like they know. I've seen them try to surround her. It doesn't work. I've seen them try to muscle her out. It doesn't work. Like she's just going to do what she's going to do.
I want to compare her to the player who didn't play. Mm-hmm. So the player who didn't play on Binghamton, who I want to shout out because
Danae Bowman.
I'm not saying they would have won or lost. I just know it would have been a different game if Danae Bowman was in.
Yeah.
Something I saw with Danae Bowman when we covered Binghamton is something that I see with Kayla Cooper. They both can start out slow, meaning not hitting shots or just, waiting all the way to the end of the first or second quarter, even the second half to get going. Mm-hmm. But when Danae Bowman, just like Kayla Cooper, when they get going in the second half, your team is in trouble. And that's what we saw with Kayla Cooper. She started off slow that game.
Yeah, facts.
But the rebounding, the triple threat on the box, the mid-range jump shots.
Yeah.
Once she gets going, how you stop that? Because if you try to stop it, Hagerstrand knocking down a three, Grace Heaps knocking down a three, Hane.
Yeah.
For I want to pronounce her name right. It starts with an F.
Oh, Fatima?
No. Well, her too, but the other girl.
Freya Worth, yeah.
Freya Worth. I'm sorry, I don't want to mispronounce her name. She comes off the bench, gives you something.
Yeah.
Then Fatima, snatch back, jump shot.
Facts. Yeah.
Going dribbling, no look pass. I saw
does.
That no look pass to Lucia. That was ill. Caught that, but one thing that I want to give her credit for, as a coach, when we went out to Binghamton a few weeks back, she said she has the players understanding their role.
Yeah.
And I think that's key in basketball. Because as she said, I mean, we have a lot of players, and sometimes some players don't get certain minutes, but they all understand their role. They all understand the greater good.
Right.
That's what you have with a good championship team. They won the American East last year. And we're knocking on some wood, but they're looking like favorites. We'll knock on some wood for their health. Hopefully they get healthy and don't get dinged up. But they're one of the top teams that we see going a deep stretch in the tournament, man. Right. Got anything else to add on that?
No, just they're a great team. If they do what everybody expects them to do, they should. Let me also I think this is her last name is Craig, the Vermont women's coach, because it's right now UAlbany women. Vermont is number 2, Maine is number 3, and UMBC is number 4, and everybody's looking at chops.
A little controversy?
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me, American East. Is Maine still Maine?
Not with Ann Simon.
I just because me and you've been covering this for a while, and it's always you don't want to go up to Maine tournament time, even though I'm not talking about last year because obviously UAlbany won, but Maine was always the threat. Maine and Vermont, they're starting to lose a little bit luster. Like people are not. Hey, I hate to use this analogy, but it's just like when Suge Knight got knocked out by that barber. Nobody was scared of Suge Knight no more.
Yeah.
So is Maine still Maine, in your opinion?
No, not this year. Next year they will, but not this year. I don't think.
No disrespect. Yeah. No disrespect. I'm just throwing it out there for content.
Yeah. I think that Maine, because they're injured, they do got injuries. That's not an excuse, but they're just not the same team right now. Vermont went in there and beat them. You know what I mean? UAlbany almost went in there and beat them. And to be honest with you, having UAlbany not had that slow start, they would have beat them. Where did we see that at? Huh?
We saw that last season too, correct?
Yeah. So it's just, and I think everybody's going to be keeping their eye on this game. This game, if UAlbany women wins this game, UMBC is going to creep up to number 3, and Maine will slow down to number 4. That is not good for Maine. That's not good at all.
So it will be Albany, Vermont, and UMBC. If I'm understanding,
Albany, Vermont, UMBC, and Maine. Maine is for fourth.
Shout out to those 4 teams and the coaches. Coach Mullen.
Yeah.
Who's the UMBC coach?
She's Janetta Hayes.
She's doing a great job coaching UMBC. So shout out to Janetta Hayes.
I thought it was going to take another year for her to get where she's at now because they just were trying to play through COVID last year. But oh boy, with Kiara Bell and I think just the other young lady, I forgot her name. I think it's KKDD. It's one of the two, but she's a guard.
Okay.
They're like tearing it up. And there's another one too. I can't think of right now, but Bell is the main attraction. She's the main attraction. We saw what she did, and she did her thing last night. They can't. Albany always comes out in the end. It's like they know what they have to do. When they went into overtime, when Binghamton took into overtime, it's like, yo, game over.
It's just like I said, like they're cold crackers, and specifically, I mean the coaching staff. I'm sorry, I'm gonna give you credit because you said it. You only have one time to defeat Albany before Coach Mullins and her coaching staff figures it out. So that's why I said with Maine, good luck next game y'all play.
Yeah, facts, super facts.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. Is there any surprises that you see in these last few games in the American East for the women? Is there a team at the bottom that you think the right circumstances happen? Because I'm a piece it up with the men's when we switch over to the men's, and I'll just let you.
New Hampshire.
So you think New Hampshire can surprise?
Their record is bad, and they'll probably be the lowest seed at number 8 because I think UMass Lowell's last. So I think and they're in total rebuild mode. So that's no shot at the coach. New Hampshire, I think, is a dangerous team. Like nobody's paying attention to them because they're at the bottom, but they're a very dangerous team. You know what I mean? So
just something to keep our eyes on from the tournament time.
Yeah, NJIT. I think NJIT went in there and beat Maine. Didn't NJIT beat Maine? Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's starting to get like people ain't scared of Maine no more.
That's why I posed that question. Yeah. Like, is Maine still Maine?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
I think at this point, Amy Vachon is just trying to finish strong, and when we get in the playoffs, that's when we're gonna do damage. That's what I think she's looking at.
I don't want to put my foot in my mouth and then come tournament time, Maine's like, F you, we saw your podcast.
Nah. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Want to touch on the men's?
If you want, yeah.
So shout out to the Albany, the men's team. Very, very long season for them. A lot of adversity. But I went to the game yesterday, and surprisingly, it was packed with a lot of UMBC fans.
Wowzers.
If you're unfamiliar, Jarvis Doles transferred from Albany to UMBC. So I guess some fan base was his, and then I think they had another young student athlete over there. So it was looking like a UMBC game. They started slow, 7-0. UMBC pounced on them. And I'm over there scratching my head like, here we go again.
Right.
And then guess what happened? Trigger Trey, man. Right. Trey Hutchinson. I don't know if he's a senior or a grad student, but something lit him up, man. I don't know if it was the frustration of the long season or him not getting himself going, but the aggression that Trey Hutchinson showed, I think a switch just flipped because they was like, not no more. He started hitting 3-pointers, and then from the 3-pointers, he's driving inside. He then set the tone defensively because there was a play where in the beginning he was switched. Now, Trey Hutchinson, if people don't know, he's like a 6'5" forward. He's not really a senior, but he's a forward. He gets switched on the center, Jarvis Doles, if you remember how big he was.
Yeah.
In a couple plays, he was stripping him in the post. So now you got off playing small ball. Now you're getting a ball out in transition.
Right.
And once that happened, Albany flipped the switch, and they didn't look back.
Right.
So I was very proud to see that the team came together, didn't quit, and actually played with some pride, man.
Right.
And I think that's very important when you're building a culture for a young team as we talked about new coaches.
Right.
So I want to touch on that now because we touched on it with the Iona coach, but with head coach Dwayne Killens. He's only in his second year, and it seems like people think he's supposed to be top 3 team right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, no coach, unless just the sun shines on your team and you got these amazing transfers within the first. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody can pull a stat about a coach getting a head coaching job and within the first 2 seasons going to the championship. Man.
I want to talk about this. I talked about this in the last podcast, but I'm going to say this again. Will Brown was there for 19 years, and it got to a point when players didn't want to play there. They were either leaving or they weren't coming. And let me let this sit here, and I'm going to say this 2 times. They rather would have went to schools like Vermont than go to Albany. I'm going to say that again. They would have rather went to a school like Vermont than go to a school like UAlbany. So that's a problem. 19 years. You're running kids out of there. Not he's doing it intentionally, but kids just don't want to play for him. So at some point, the voice might have just got old and it was what it was. But that's 19 years. And Killens was not going to fix that in 2 years. It wasn't going to happen unless he has a luck like John Calipari where he's just getting all these transfers. That, you know what I mean? He's not going to.
And I hope nobody stoops that low with their opinion. We're all entitled to our opinion, so I'm not saying you don't have an opinion. But I hope some journalists don't, well, look at John Calipari. That's a Power 5 school, man. Not only a Power 5 school, they're known for, they jump-started the one and done for college basketball. Yeah. He was telling kids, I don't want you playing at my school more than 1 year because if you're here, that means you're the best of the best in college. Come on, man. Yeah. We're a mid-major in the American East.
Facts.
Now, obviously, we're turning a corner for mid-majors because a lot of stuff is happening with the transfer portal, right, making these schools big. But I always say 3 to 4 seasons. That's just to bear the fruits of your labor. Can we get one class incoming and graduated before we start saying, damn, it's over? Come on, man.
Super facts.
But from what I saw yesterday, I like what I saw. Because 2 players that I talked about in that podcast back in January did exactly what I said. And I'll probably find a clip and overlay it when I was talking about the student athlete Justin Beagle and Marcus Jackson. Did exactly what I said. Justin Beagle started off slow, but once Trey Hutchinson got going and then everybody was plugging, Jonathan Beagle joined the party. 16 points, 15 rebounds. Right. That's a monster stat for a freshman. Again, normally when incoming freshman comes into a program, they're a little slow to start off. Right. 16 points and 15 rebounds. What happens when he hits the weight room in the offseason?
It's going to be a wrap.
Strength and conditioning, him just knowing the system, him just knowing the players that are going to be there next year, having the confidence saying, well, last year I gave this dude 20. Last season I put up 15 rebounds on him. I dunked on him. It's going to be ugly next year when that kid hits the weight room. Right. Then moving over to the kid, and I want to give him his flowers because he plays so hard. The student athlete, Marcus Jackson.
That's the guard, right?
Point guard. What I saw from him, there was a play, and I wish I caught it on my camera. If you go back and you remember when Duke played Virginia, when Zion Williamson played for Duke, there was a big block that was on SportsCenter for a month where he damn near started taking off from the box and met the dude at the 3-point line and threw his shot.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm not trying to gas it up, but yesterday Marcus Jackson did that. He's 6'1". Right. He's not 6'5". He's not 6'6". He's 6'1", and probably barely 6'1". So they needed to get a stop because UMBC was like trapping them and kind of cutting out this 12-point lead. There was a play where they tried to come down quick, and Marcus Jackson read the play, leaped, it looked like he was 45 inches off the ground and threw the shot. I was like, yo, like this kid is ill defensively, like Joe Dumars.
Right.
I really think with him, and I want to give him his props. Just a off season for him, how dedicated he is. I really think maybe this year he might make a American East defensive team. I don't know, second team, third team, however that goes. But for next year, I really think that young student athlete can make like the first team all defensive. That's how ill he is defensively. Wow. So salute to the student athletes. And it was more. It wasn't just him. Everybody showed up. Sarju Patel was doing his thing. A transfer that didn't get a lot of minutes in the beginning, but Daquan Davis, huge game. Like he was all over the floor. Assistant to Trey Hutchinson, knocking down 3-pointers and ones. Drumgool was doing this thing. Everybody. So big salute to all the student athletes because they show what happens when you don't quit. It could have been easy for them to pack it in and say, hey, we only got one win. Let's hang our heads. Let's just play these 3 games and get out of here.
Right.
They play with some serious pride, man. So I'm proud of all you student athletes that showed up and represented you Albany because that's how you build culture. Right. Salute to them. Salute the head coach, Dwayne Killens. Salute to the coaching staff around Dwayne Killens, man. I think they're going to do some great things in the off season. And everybody who's laughing because of how slow this year went, mark my words, next year is going to be totally different. What are your opinions?
I agree. I think he just needs to build, and you know, I not to severe what he's going through. I seen Coach Mullen go through a tough year. You know what I mean? And she coached him through it. And when I say coached him through it, didn't just get past it. She like went out swinging, and almost pulled up an upset in the first round of the conference tournament. So you know, with Killens, he trust me, next year he'll be back even bigger and stronger and better. You know, so.
And hold on, because they got a student athlete coming next year. They probably got more that I just don't know about. You know, transfer students, but shout out to the young brother who's coming from Camden High School. Let me see if I can find his name. Can't find his name at the moment, but if you look at the kid from Camden High School who signed a letter of intent, I seen his high school tape, certified dog, problem child. I'm telling you, it's going to look very different next year. Right. Salute to Camden High and that recruit come in, and salute to whoever else is transferring. It's going to be a good program, man. Stay tuned. So we're going to migrate from college to professionals, man. Okay. How do we want to attack the NFL? Because there's so many layers. There's so many stories.
We'll start with the Super Bowl. Yes, we'll do that, and then we'll go from there. You know, so the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Clearly, I mean, before I go in, what was your thoughts on it? Yeah.
Oh, great. It wasn't a boring Super Bowl. It wasn't a low-scoring game. It was high-power offense. I will say this. Head coach Andy Reid is a wizard. Because he saw exactly what they were doing. Second half, picked that defense apart. And I know you saw those 2 identical touchdown passes. You was like, where's the defense on that? Yeah. But that's, you know, between him and your guy that you always shout out, the offensive coordinator. Yep. Yeah. They did an awesome job. Yeah. On the Eagles side, we got to give his brother some, you know, he's young, 24 years old. Jalen Hurts. Yeah. You know, a loss is a loss, but what more could he have done? Yeah. 3 rushing touchdowns, the numbers he put up, he went out swinging. Yeah. So I know it stings a little bit, and you don't want to point fingers, but he definitely showed up, man. Yeah. So I'm going to pose 2 questions.
Yes.
from the Eagles side, what do you think that they need to do in the offseason to surround Jalen Hurts so that this isn't just a one-time Super Bowl run?
I think they need to strengthen up on defense. There was something concerning as somebody brought up an analyst. First of all, shouts out to Jalen Hurts how he played, because they literally marched down the field when they started the game. I mean, they other than when he fumbled the ball, like that gave it and the Chiefs picked up ran in zone, there's nothing else you can really criticize. So my point is that they need to, but they need to know they got to strengthen up on defense. Because, I mean, you got Freeman, you got Goddard, you got Miles Sanders, I think Miles Sanders is going to be a free agent, but you got Jalen Hurts, you got A.J. Brown, right? So you got three to four. You got three weapons, and you got Jalen Hurts. Now, running game, I mean, but I don't know. I think what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to build a defense, because I'm going to tell you, you can't just keep outscoring people. And let me make it very clear. On their road on the way to the Super Bowl, I mean, probably the toughest team they played was the Giants. I mean, they played the 49ers with no quarterback. So that's not a shot at Philly, but you're not going to be able to get away with that next year. That's the only reason why. If San Francisco's defense, I could assure you would have played better had they had a quarterback. But you put them out there, I mean, they knew the game was over. You know what I mean? So I think they need to focus on defense, which, I mean, Fletcher Cox and all of them is good. But I think what was bothering me about that game, there's two things that was bothering me, well, other than the coaching stuff, which we're going to get into in the next segment. Defensive-wise, they didn't do anything. Patrick Mahomes threw for 3 touchdowns. And I know it's the Chiefs. You know, you let them score 3 touchdowns or whatever. But, Patrick Mahomes, I mean, really? You let him score 38 points?
Pick them apart.
Run a blitz. Do a zone blitz. Do something. You didn't blitz him. You didn't hit him the whole time. And the only time you did anything is when I think you tapped his ankle when he was running. I think he gained yards on that. So what did you?
You remember that Super Bowl? What was it, last season?
Mm-hmm.
Where Patrick Mahomes lost.
Running for his life, yeah.
And me and you was laughing like, yo, he running for his life.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Yeah.
You should have looked at what worked against him the last Super Bowl. You got to get him off his square like Tom Brady. Go ahead.
This is the thing. When that Super Bowl happened, everybody's afraid of Tyreek Hill. And the Bucs knew what they had to do. So all they did is just kept 2 people on top of Tyreek Hill. And they basically made Mahomes throw where he didn't really want to throw. He wanted to keep going deep. And they knew without Tyreek Hill, he couldn't do it. It was frustrating him. But so he didn't want to give in. This year, though, and shouts out to Eric Bieniemy, who was noticing certain things, because he admitted it. They admitted it, like Bieniemy caught that. But Eric Bieniemy, they run the ball. That's the difference this time. It's that and intermediate passes. Because Kansas City wants to go deep. But everybody knows they can't do that anymore with no Tyreek Hill. So I don't understand why you don't make Mahomes throw within a 10-yard radius. Make him throw in a 10-yard radius. Don't sit there and just. I don't know what the defense Philly was playing. It looked bad. Neither. Or at least clog up the middle with linebackers and safeties and say, yo, you're just gonna have to reach to the east side of the field. You're gonna have to vertically get down the field, but we're not letting you get in here in the middle. It just didn't look good. I mean, it didn't. No, there was no defense. And I know the league has created rules that makes it fun for the offense, this and the third. But my God, man, that was bad. That was really bad. I think that was the only problem I had with the Super Bowl. Like, the Chiefs got some stops. So, because I know the Eagles scored 35 points, but the Chiefs got some stops. But the Eagles didn't do anything. I mean, it was bad. I don't even think the punter really got on the field for the Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know, man. I mean, it's just going to be what it's going to be.
I want to give some roses, though, some flowers, or however you want to do it. So when you talked about the passing game, we have to acknowledge something. What's the tight end's name, number 88?
Travis Kelce.
So when Travis Kelce wasn't going, somebody stepped up, an old Pittsburgh Steelers player.
Right, Juju.
Shout out to Juju. So this is how I want to phrase how we talk about Juju for a few minutes. Super Bowl champion, who was a young player with Pittsburgh who caught a lot of flack for some immaturity in the locker room.
TikToking on people's
TikToking
logos,
and stuff like that. He's young. He's still young, but now you have a Super Bowl standing next to the baddest quarterback in the land right now.
Mm-hmm.
How good is this for Juju, one? And two, did he revive his young career?
It's great for him because it'll keep him playing. If he doesn't do what he does this year with Kansas City, just the season alone, he's probably out of the league in another year or two. He's gonna go to one more team, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, we gotta see him. We don't see nothing. You out."
So now with a Super Bowl behind him, with confidence and knowing that you're going, what does this contract look like if you know? Is he on a 1 year, 2 year? How is this?
He'll probably get a 2-year deal because I think people are still on the go. Like, well, two things: they're going to know what Andy Reid was doing. So I mean, he'll get another contract. I don't know. I think his contract's 1 year for Kansas City.
Okay.
I don't think it's 2 years. I think it's 1 year. So I think they'll bring him back. They'll bring him back. I think he got He got a $1 million bonus for how he played in the Super Bowl.
Yep. $1 million bonus and a Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
So regardless I hope he gets a contract extension.
I do too.
So let's stay with this. Hypothetically, he gets a 2-year, 3-year contract extension. How many Super Bowls?
Oh Lord Jesus!
I think he got another, and I'm not a fan. You know, I'm Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they got one more in them soon.
Kansas City.
Soon.
I mean, with Mahomes at the helm, unless somebody just takes the rings, there's nobody else. It depends on what people are going to do in the offseason.
Okay.
What are you going to do to stop this kid? What are you going to do? Are you going to get corners? Are you going to get a defensive coordinator? What are you going to do? Because I haven't seen anybody slow this kid down yet except for Tampa. They figured it out. But nobody else has.
And we all know Tampa's done.
Yeah, they're in total rebuild mode.
So forget that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think KC, they probably got at least 2 or 3 more. You being nice saying one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep compiling on this. Me and you're a Falcons fan. I'm a Steelers fan. We had our favorite wide receivers of our teams. Juju already has 1 ring. Let's say in the next 3 years he has another Super Bowl performance like this. Where does that pit him in the league of receivers?
No, not no top 10.
Who?
Not no top 10. Who? Juju, man?
That performance that he put up, I'm not saying Travis Kelce was unstoppable.
Yeah.
He was ill.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him his flowers. He was the #1 target. But those, what did he have? 7 catches?
Yeah, something like that.
And then the final play where he burnt dude and made him get that penalty. That was a hell of a performance by him. It wasn't like top 5 Super Bowl performance. I'm not gonna go that far.
No, I know what you're saying.
I'm not drinking.
I know what you're saying.
That was a ill Super Bowl. Like it's like stories like that make players. If he has one more in the next 3 years performance and another ring, come on, man. I'm an Antonio Brown fan. Like we saw how he fizzled out the league.
Yeah, he did that to himself. Yeah,
you know Julio Jones. You saw.
Yeah, he can't play past 3 plays. Go ahead.
So. In the next, I know, Juju, if you see this, I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but if he has another Super Bowl performance, what is that? Is he a top 20 receiver?
25, man.
Oh, so now I got to put you on the spot. Who are some of the receivers that you see ahead of him?
A.J. Brown.
Okay.
DK Metcalf. Deebo Samuel when he's out there.
Yep, definitely.
What's the guy from Arizona? D-Hop. Stephon Diggs. Let me see. T. Higgins. Jamar Chase. Let me see. CeeDee Lamb.
You putting Lamb in front of him? What has Lamb done in his young career?
He's better than Juju. I guarantee when people see this clip, you should you should say, yo, go to our site and pick a poll. And the poll would say everybody would pick CeeDee Lamb over Juju.
We're going to do this.
I can assure you.
Because we can do polls on, I think, Twitter. I think Twitter has a poll.
Yeah, you do it on Twitter. Take this clip and put it right on there.
If there's a way we can do a poll, or just, I'm going to put the clip out on social media. CeeDee Lamb or Juju Smith, who's the better receiver?
CeeDee Lamb. Could you imagine what Patrick Mahomes could do with CeeDee Lamb? Oh, my God.
I saw them Butterfingers a couple times.
See, here you go, man. Look what you doing. So you're getting on topic, but I'm telling you the truth. I'm
on topic, man.
No, you're not.
CeeDee Lamb. When I put this
Amari
clip out,
Cooper.
Oh, okay. I'll give Cooper that.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb or Juju. I'm gonna put this clip out. You guys like or retweet and let me know. But Cooper another Rush. Super Bowl, you still got him at 25. If he get 2 rings,
Trent Dilfer has a Super Bowl ring. Is he better than Warren Moon? No.
But what is he putting up?
Huh?
Did he have a performance like that?
No, hell no. Trent Dilfer didn't. He worked for what they were doing. But the point I'm making is, not to get off sidetrack, is like you're trying to say because Juju has 2 Super Bowl rings.
No.
If he gets another one with Mahomes, then you're like, oh, he could be like those top receivers. No, he cannot.
So you trying to say
he's not number 1 receiver?
He's the Robert Horry of receivers?
Yeah, he is. Listen.
You trying to say he's the Robert Horry?
Can I ask you something?
Robert Horry. You remember Robert Horry?
Horry, yes. Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something?
Okay.
I just want to ask you something. If Travis Kelce is the man.
Yes,
when
he is.
Tyreek Hill left, Travis Kelce was still balling. When Antonio Brown left, Juju Smith-Schuster was just an average receiver. Just to be honest.
He was immature.
Tell the truth.
He was immature.
Am I lying?
He was immature.
Am I lying? I just want to know, am I lying?
I think his immaturity
I want you to tell me that I'm lying.
Steelers fans.
Oh,
y'all got to back me on this.
I think you're just happy because it's somebody in the Steelers that got hurt. You don't got nothing else to say about that. Yo, go on, man. Like,
Steelers fans, I'm trying to hold it down, man. I'm fighting for my life.
Listen, man, you had okay, yeah. You had 9-8. Just leave that alone.
All right. Shout out to Juju, man.
Yeah. I think it was a little goofy what he did about, with the whole calling James Bradbury out. I mean, come on, man.
That was back and forth.
No, I think what's his name? Who AJ Brown went at him for that. Because AJ Brown knows you only got that because of Travis Kelce. You ain't the man like that. You know what I'm saying? So
I'll take that ring though.
No, I got it. I just want to say that overall with the Super Bowl, I think the biggest thing that comes out of that is that it solidifies Mahomes towards a legacy that we think is going to go.
Now we can get to the Chiefs.
And then I think, also with Andy Reid now, but I think the damage that's been done, and I think you know where we're going with this because we're going to talk about the coaching. Andy Reid gets a lot of the credit.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. But I think that, Eric Bieniemy's not getting, because, Travis Kelce yelled after the game, he's like, yeah, well, thanks to Reid is why I get the ball and I keep doing what I'm doing.
Who's the offensive coordinator?
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, man. And Andy Reid went on his way to let people know Bieniemy is the man. So, it's just sad that even through all this, they're still not giving him any type of credibility. But if I was him, and we'll talk about it in the next segment, I wouldn't go nowhere. I'll just keep winning Super Bowls. So y'all don't want to hire me. Y'all can sit over there with y'all. Y'all know it all. What is it? I keep talking about David Tupper from the Carolina Panthers owner. He's like, yeah, I hired Matt Rule because he looked like me. He looks like a slob and he looks like he drools on his shirt.
And what happened with that?
Right, nothing. Crap.
Where's Matt Rule even at? Did he go back to college?
He's
got a big contract.
He's with one of those Big 12 schools, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Why he's getting paid from Carolina? Just saying. Off the back, I don't let him get started on that whole thing. But I'm gonna. It's just.
But let's talk about before we go on a tangent. So, Skip Bayless had an interesting. Well, no, him and Shannon Sharp was going back and forth, and Shannon made an interesting point. He felt the reason why Skip had some criticism about his Super Bowl performance, like saying, Jalen Hurts outplayed him and yada yada yada, is because he sees what Mahomes is doing, and it puts Tom Brady's legacy at jeopardy. It's not just the 2 Super Bowl rings, but he has 2 league MVPs at the age of 27 years old.
Yeah.
And Brady didn't have that. Again, if they win another ring before he's 30 and he has 3 rings and 3 final MVPs, sorry, not final MVPs, but league MVPs, what is the trajectory of Patrick Mahomes then?
He's got Brady got what, 6?
Yeah.
He's got 6 or 7 rings.
But we're also talking about the MVPs at this age.
He'll be the GOAT, but until he gets more Super Bowls than Brady, he won't be better than Brady.
Oh, yeah. I notice I said trajectory.
Oh, trajectory?
The trajectory.
Where I see him going?
If let's say by the age of 29, he has three MVPs and 3 Super Bowls, what's the trajectory of him knowing that he's going to play for another 10 years?
Yeah, he'll probably be the GOAT all time. Easily. The GOAT.
And I think that's what Skip was alluding to, like, oh, man.
Yeah.
He's not there yet.
It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be really hard because you got to keep teams intact. Is he gonna do what Brady did? Brady gave up money to get people to come in there. So people keep forgetting about that.
I don't know what the collective bargaining entails about contracts and money, but I think winning cures that.
Yeah.
When you start, let's look at the Golden State Warriors. People got their bag and stuff, but you start saying, yo, I might take a few dollars less because what if we could stretch this last final runs? Because they're on their final run.
Yeah.
3 seasons, Steph Curry's 37, 38 years old.
Yeah.
Draymond Green's way past his prime. You have a window of opportunity to stretch a dynastic run. You might take less money. So I think he would, especially in Kansas City, to not get traded. That's just my honest opinion with that situation. Who do you think stands in the best chance in that conference to knock them off next year, or to be a threat?
In Kansas City? For Kansas City, I think Cincinnati.
Okay.
So Cincinnati they should have beat them. I forgot what was because my memory is so bleak from that game right now. But they're always there at the end with Kansas City. They usually have Kansas City number. So it is what it is. Until Burrow might come and disrupt that. Burrow's going to be capable, depending on where Lamar Jackson goes at this point. He might be a problem.
We got to touch on that before we, go ahead.
Let me say this. Burrow's the threat. I wanted to say Buffalo, but something's up. And I don't know if it's because Josh Allen is doing too much, but until they fix that whole problem, because their window's closing. I don't think people understand. Yes, I think their window's closing. You got to look in their conference, and I'm gonna wait until we do our season review. We're gonna do that soon, in one of these episodes. You got to remember Miami, even though they're a scumbag organization with a scumbag owner and a scumbag coach, they're moving up. Their offense is high powered, right? Belichick, I'm pretty sure, is coming up with a plan to fix New England, and the Jets are 1 quarterback away. So you're not going to get the thing of, we're the Bills and we're better than everybody in the conference. The Jets are coming. I'm going to tell you right now, because they already asked about Aaron Rodgers, so you know where they're going. They already asked about Aaron Rodgers, and they're like, yo.
When did that happen?
It was reports that came out, was it yesterday, that they were asking the Packers about Aaron Rodgers' availability. Like, what do you want? What do you want for us to get him?
How old is Aaron Rodgers now? You think he has another 2 years?
Yes. They were competing for the playoffs, but look at the Jets' defense and look at their weapons compared to Green Bay's.
Good point.
You know what I mean? Like Green Bay's receivers ain't New York Jets receivers. The Jets receivers are illmatic, and they were doing that with a backup quarterback by the name of Mike White. It ain't like they had like Patrick Mahomes back there. They had Mike White, and that ball was sailing and failing and flopping out, and Garrett Wilson was doing his thing, and Elijah Moore, and I forgot the other guy's name. The Jets were airing it out. So imagine Aaron Rodgers there, and then on top of that, you got a defense. And I'm not saying that Green Bay's defense ain't great, but now you got Jets defense is top 10.
Okay.
Easily. So what I'm saying is with the Bills, as much as I want to put them in that predicament, I don't think, first of all, Burrow's the one that usually is at the end with Patrick Mahomes. He's in Mahomes' way more than Josh Allen is. So everybody thinks, everybody thought the Bills were going to do their thing this year, and it didn't happen. They barely got by the Dolphins. And then they got beat. You know what I'm saying? The next game. They got knocked out.
So 2 questions. I'm going to touch on the Bills. My questions for the Bills first and then the Jets. You talked about their window closing. And we're going to put this clip. We're going to put this clip out. If we're talking about the Buffalo Bills window closing, how many seasons do they have left before it completely closes? And what do they have to do to extend that window if they can?
They have to. The thing that hurt them last year was Von Miller got hurt. That was a big loss. But that's just one guy.
Yeah, and he's older.
And you can't. Y'all couldn't do nothing else. So I think first of all they need to develop a running game, because this we're gonna keep passing Stephon Diggs, and so we don't have to hear his mouth. That's gonna stop. That needs to stop. 2, they need to develop a running game. 3, they got to get some guys in there. I don't know defense-wise. I mean, the defense is in the top 5, so I can't really complain about that. But I think with Burrow coming, you need to be honest with yourself. Either the play calling's got to change or you got to get some guys in there. It looked like they got the talent, but, I mean, you can't beat Burrow. Can you beat Burrow? Because that's what's happening. And then even if you get past Burrow, you still got Mahomes. What you going to do about that?
So do you give it 1 season?
Their window's closing. Unless they do something to change, like what I was talking about with the running game, and Josh Allen has to scale it back a little bit with the trying to do everything, their window's closing. I give it 1 or 2 more years. Their window's closing.
Second question. You threw a hypothetical out there. You talked about what the Jets, we're hearing rumors of Aaron Rodgers possibly going there. Let's hypothetically say in a perfect world, he goes over there, he gets those weapons. Do the Jets turn into favorites in that division?
Automatically.
How many wins? Hypothetically, if they land
offensive line,
they land Aaron Rodgers with everything you said.
They're in the playoffs at least. That's the least they're gonna do. Then, mind you, you got those weapons and you got that defense, and you're going against with Aaron Rodgers. You're not really scared of Mahomes. With Aaron Rodgers, you're not really scared of Joe Burrow. With Aaron Rodgers, you're not really scared of Josh Allen. You're not really scared of them because you got Aaron Rodgers. And as much as they want to say Aaron Rodgers chokes, well, let's look at Green Bay. They've been to a lot of NFC Championship games. Jets have not been to a lot of AFC Championship games. So as much as that's called choking, then I guess the Jets need to go over there and choke them. You know what I'm saying? I just guess that's what it is. I'm just going to be honest. But, not to sidetrack, but that's I did, like, Buffalo ain't going to have that window of opportunity. And I know we kind of sidetracked off of what we saw. This is supposed to be a Super Bowl conversation. But Mahomes, to go back to it, Mahomes is there. Burrow, I'm pretty sure, is coming back because he always seems to be in Mahomes' way, whether Mahomes wins or not. And everybody else is going to be getting better. So what do I think about as far as with the Chiefs? I think they got a few more years left. I mean, everybody thought with Tampa Bay when they won that Super Bowl, we're going to run it back. They ran it right back. I didn't.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did his thing that the year before last, Brady came back and they made the playoffs.
44 years old, 43. I didn't see that run going. I didn't see that run going past more than this.
You didn't think he was going to win another Super Bowl?
No,
really.
And I'm not hating because I'm a Steelers fan. I just thought his time was up.
Yeah.
And I saw, as you said, the competition and other teams. I saw it coming to an end.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, what was you gonna say? So go ahead.
Oh no, that was the end of my questions for that one. So we're still in NFL land. You have a paper there. What do you want to touch on? So
I want to talk about, like, the one thing is 2 things that happens when the season ends after the Super Bowl. Usually after the regular season, what happens, and it's usually with the coaches. We always had a topic every year about the black coaches. I think what was really alarming about after the Super Bowl, and the 4 coaches. One Spagnolia was Steve Spagnolia. I think that's his name.
We gotta get the names right because they killed this on YouTube.
Yeah, nobody cares.
You didn't say the name correctly.
You know what? That's what I want to address. Let's address that first. First of all, I don't care, but my partner brought it up to my attention. Second of all, this is the camera. Mm-hmm. You still watching me though. I don't watch anything you do. Don't care to want to. Why don't you start your own and maybe see if it can work out for you? But I know you're still watching, so you keep it up. All right. So listen, and I'm going to say whatever I want to say because it's our show. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Two, so 4 coaches. When the Super Bowl ends, the first thing is they look at the 4 coaches. So they look at Steve Spagnuolo, I think that's his name. That's how you say his name. So they're from the Chiefs. Nobody's trying to get him for coaching hiring, right? Eric Bieniemy, who has been doing this thing with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs offense, that they've been in the top 2, 3, 1, whatever you want to call it every year, right? For whatever reason, he's not getting a job. He's been on at least double-digit interviews. So somewhere between Rangers reported 15 to 17 interviews. And at this point, I don't know what more they need to see. But somehow, the Eagles defensive coordinator that gave up 38 points.
That lost. I hate to point fingers.
He
it was
went
on
an
defense.
interview Monday and had a job Monday night. How in the hell does that happen? Arizona said, I like that guy for Kyler Murray. Yeah.
Poor Kyler Murray.
It's so funny, right?
You getting paid, but you ain't going to win, buddy.
So, right. So this is a whole mess. That's just a mess waiting to happen, right? There was clearly way more highly qualified candidates. The other gentleman, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator, when he got the job for Indianapolis, and I get why. Now, what he did with Jalen Hurts, nobody's going to argue with that. Mm-hmm. But Eric Bieniemy, for whatever reason, is not getting a job. And then the first thing that they're throwing out is, well, he's not interviewing right. Did you see? I'm sorry. Do we not remember what Dan Campbell did? We're gonna get knocked down and get up and bite kneecaps, and then get back up and bite kneecaps. Really? That's the guy you got representing your organization for the football coach? Mm-hmm. He interviewed right. Because he went up there in that press conference and made that comment.
Made a fool of himself.
And even though the Lions are playing hard for him, but they still ain't made no playoffs yet. Just want to put that out there. Then did you see Sirianni's press conference? Before the Eagles, when he got up there in the press conference, everybody was laughing like, who is this guy? You get what I'm saying? So I don't know what Eric Bieniemy is saying or doing, but it can't be worse than that. And that's just 2 that I can name. There's more, but we ain't got the time to go through them all. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is that long story short is I don't understand how these guys are more qualified. And all they do is promote crap. So the alarming thing that's coming out is that Bieniemy's not getting a job. And we all know why. Mm-hmm. We know why. Y'all don't really want to mingle with him. Y'all don't want to really talk to him. Andy Reid has said everything that he can say to promote Eric Bieniemy. Y'all know better. I'm looking at the candidates. I think when I'm thinking about the job, there was Indianapolis, which Jim Irsay, which we all know I don't know, ever since Tony Dungy left, and I don't know what he's on. He don't had too much alcohol or something. I don't know what's going on with that dude. Then there was the other one was Arizona, which what they did to Steve Wilkes was disgraceful, and they got what was coming to him. Now they're about to have a sequel to that too, by what they just hired. There was who else? Indy. We talked about Indy. Mm-hmm. Talked about Arizona, Denver. They say, yo, we gonna go against Sean Payton, so they're gonna get the pass on that. Which, let's be realistic, I don't think that Sean Payton was that was Sean Payton's first choice. But I think because one job didn't open up, he decided to keep rolling with that. So I don't understand these jobs where they're bringing in these coaches, and these coaches are more qualified than Eric Bieniemy. What more does the man have to do? What more does he have to do?
So we talked off air before this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you about the meme that I saw, and it was like it was a big account like that has like 1 million followers that said, like, they had a meme of like all these obstacles and said, what does he have to do to get a head coaching job?
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if you're him, because you don't want to sound unprofessional in the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think like he needs to pull a PR move and have somebody bring it up?
You know what's the most, and I'm going to go into the black coaches thing because that's where it's really going to lead to. But to answer your question, there's nothing more you can do. It's so pathetic. What they're saying is, well, why don't he just go to Baltimore and then run the offense there, and then we really see what he can do. I'm sorry.
What weapons are they giving? I'll leave that alone. Go ahead.
Let me go here. So when Andy Reid was running Philly or whatever, right? He had Matt Nagy, who's been with him since the Philly days. He went to Chicago when he wasn't calling plays. How'd that work out? Brad Childress, I don't know whatever happened to him after Minnesota, right? Then there's Dougie P, which did win a Super Bowl in Philly, but then he went downhill, and now he's leading Jacksonville. Other than Doug Peterson, and Doug Peterson wasn't calling the plays, right? Because that's the excuse they're using. So you want, and then now let me go here. There's two bad situations he could walk into, and if I was him, I wouldn't leave, and I'm gonna tell you why. So you want him to go to Baltimore, where right now is a nasty quarterback squabble. Situation. So they don't even know if they're going to keep Lamar Jackson or trade him because they said they're going to franchise tag him, which I don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to roll with that. So
to get injured,
yeah,
and then his value drop.
Yeah, so that's just a mess. So then they say, well, he's going to go in for the Commander's job. Really?
For that organization.
And that's not even stable because they're about to sell the team. So we all know what happens when the new owners come in. They're going to clean house. So what if they come in and he gets hired and they say, yo, we ain't rocking. Like we tell Ron Rivera, he got to go.
Or like me and you talked about, they just leave him in that mess and then he's the fall guy. See, look, we gave a black head coach a job and in 3 years, what has he done? Yeah,
it infuriates me to disrespect. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's the league corner. And let me just, because I saw the paper today, and in the USA Today paper, there was an article by Tom Shade. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. It says that largely, and in his article, and he was going in, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. If y'all want to read it, y'all can go look. He said that that's largely in line with recent history. Since 2010, there have been an average of 7 head coaching jobs open each year. In 9 of those 14 hiring cycles, either 1 or 0 minority coaches were hired. With regard to black coaches specifically, the Texans have now hired more black head coaches, 3 since 2019, than every other team in the NFL combined. But their past 2 hires were David Culley and Lovie Smith, who were fired just after 1 season. And we both know why that was. We
talked about that.
Right? So what I'm saying is that this situation, this is just a part of the article, and it goes into everything. It starts telling the whole history about the whole mess about everything. And it's a very good article. If anybody, by the time they look at this, just go into USA Today. I think the date February 16th, and it talks about the black coaches. Yeah, it talks about the black coaches, and it's just a horrible.
Can I get the camera view? Because I want to.
It's just a horrible situation.
We put this clip out on Twitter. We're gonna shout out the writer. You said his name is Tim.
Tom Shade.
Shout out to Tom who wrote this article. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna talk about this more when we put this clip out.
Yeah.
Because I think this is very important that a major publication is talking about the hiring practices in the NFL concerning black coaches during Black History Month. Mm-hmm. So I'll leave this up here for 5 seconds because this is important.
Yeah. I love it.
Shout out to Tom.
Yes. So it just makes me sick to my stomach. And I think the thing is that that's just like a disgrace. The man done went to, because what are we talking about? They won 1 Super Bowl against San Fran. They lost the one against Tampa. And now he won this one. The man been to 3 Super Bowls. That's not including the championship games he's been to. Because I think he's been to 4 of them at least.
Basically.
No, 5. Because remember, they lost 1 to Brady. The New England won 1. They won 1 to get to San Fran. Then they lost 1 to Burrow, right? And then and then this one they won. So that's 4. That's 4. The man been.
Basically,
really?
What you're telling me is he has a star-studded resume, and I'm with you on a point that you just made. I know because we want to see him at a head coaching job, but we just don't want to see him at any head coaching job where he has to take the fall and clean up the mess. And then now they're pointing fingers at him 2 seasons in. Mm-hmm. I hate to say it, maybe the right move might just to be to ride this ship for another 3 or 4 seasons and rack up rings.
And if I think I'm not mistaken, Bieniemy's in his 50s. So, I mean, the clock is ticking. Let me give you a good point. And if anybody wants to do the history, go look up Sherman Lewis from the Green Bay Packers. Now, he was with Mike Holmgren. He was calling offensive plays. And I remember when they was winning those Super Bowls, they never talk about him. Mind you, they talk about Andy Reid and Steve Mariucci and John Gruden, the great John Gruden. And I'm being sarcastic. But you know what's funny is he never got any credibility. Nobody ever looked at him. And he had helped Green Bay make that run. Now, I mean, he had helped with the racist, ignorant Brett Favre, but
the Brett Favre that's suing people for calling him out. And I have to say this now since he's suing people for alleged fraud in Mississippi. And I have to say alleged because he's now suing Shannon Sharp and another person and others for shedding light on what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi with the welfare fraud that his name is tied into. And that's the best way I can put it because now he's on the defensive suing people. Yeah. So go ahead.
No. So it just makes me sick. Like Sherman Lewis was going through that. That was back when I was a teenager in high school.
Wow.
So it's been a minute.
Yeah.
And it's the same story. And it's like, at some point it's just falling on deaf ears. Sean McVay got his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator both jobs. Raheem Morris won a Super Bowl they won a Super Bowl with Raheem Morris. All he just keeps doing is getting interviews. He ain't got hired yet. I don't know what more to do. Leslie Frazier, he has a top 10 defense in Buffalo. He ain't got hired yet. And he's been doing it for years with Buffalo, and they still won't hire him. What do they have to do? And these owners keep making racist comments. Well, we only identify with somebody who looks like us. Really?
Wow.
Let's not even, and let me go here.
Because we're in Black History Month, and I'll go off on a tangent.
It's such a sham. It is blatant racism in the NFL. And it's like certain people say, maybe we should just start looking at other leagues to just develop and create ownership and just keep it moving, man, because they're never going to change. I mean, Irsay won a Super Bowl. I think the only Super Bowl Indianapolis had is with Tony Dungy. You still ain't going to hire. What Black, you really? Really? You going to keep rolling? You keep trying to go other directions and it ain't really working for you. Maybe you might want to go back to what got you there. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah. They'll say we're playing the race card, whatever that is.
Yeah, okay. It's blatant racism all across between the front offices, the management, and the media access. Don't get me started on that because we already.
Oh Lord, as people in the media, that's a whole nother
very
podcast.
Bad. NFL is horrific. And there's some Django characters in that media departments, specifically one with the Jets. Let me keep going. I'm gonna say that again. Specifically one with the Jets.
Well, we'll start pulling up emails, but again, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, we're right where we need to be. So we talked about the black quarterback situation.
The black coaches.
The black head coaching hiring practices. Because we talked about that before on a couple podcasts back. Yeah. I'm trying to see not what they need to do, but is there anything that we can do as media or heading up into the collective? When's the next collective bargaining agreement? Like there has to be something that.
It's the owners. They own the league. Roger Goodell works for the league, and then he makes some. It's so ridiculous. He makes a ridiculous comment talking about we're developing removing. Really? Look at the numbers, man. The league is 70% black, and there's hardly any black coaches in the league, and everybody keeps turning their face playing dumb. The players just got to stand up, be like, yo, you bring this dude in here, and we ain't gonna play. Now, good luck. You can get replacement players. Good luck with that. That ain't gonna work out well for you.
Yeah, we saw that movie. The Replacement.
Nobody watching that, man. They get replacement players, and I ain't turning on nothing. I'll watch college football and all that other stuff. They getting ideas. So I'll go over there. I ain't watching that. The players need to stay up and say something. Why? It's on everybody because the owners don't really care. They just gonna keep doing what they're doing because nobody's boycotting it. I guarantee people of color say we're not watching this product anymore, and the players say, "Yo, we not gonna tolerate this." Let me ask you something. Time out. You know what? I'm a Falcons fan. I could tell you right now, because we all know Jerry Jones will never hire a black man to coach his team. Let's just be honest. Let's just be honest, right? But Arthur Blank stands there and plays stupid and says we need to do something to change it. Well, you had a chance when you brought in Terry Fontenot at the black GM, and he picked Arthur Smith from the Titans. Really? You had Eric Bieniemy sitting right there, and you picked Arthur Smith, and we still ain't made a playoff. Now it's only been there for 2 years, but we'll see. What are we gonna do this year? We're gonna develop Desmond Ridder. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about how good we can get this year, and then if we don't get in there this year, then what? I'm sick of seeing it.
This is why, as a Steelers fan, I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna eat my food and be quiet.
The Rooney Rule, which is a joke, it's a sham. The Rooney Rule's a joke and it's a sham. Y'all gonna keep sitting up there lying, talking about we need to do better, and y'all not doing better. And then you talk about the representation of the league. The league is 70% black. What you think you represent when you put us on the field, but then you say is in leadership and offices, we not good enough to be there. So we good to be on your plantation field, but we not good enough to be up in the office with you.
And that's one comment I wanted to address. There was one of the comments on our YouTube where it was like, well, the league is 70% minority. What more do y'all want? I hate to say this. I want it all.
Facts.
I want it all.
Yep.
We built these leagues. Not just leagues, but let's go into a little Black History moment because we're still in Black History Month.
Yep.
And, on the back of CRT with them taking our history out of schools.
Mm-hmm.
As people, there was various groups in this country helped building this country up. Mm-hmm. So salute to everybody. I'm not going to sit up here and pit one against the other. But we know from our history as Black Americans, what did we do to build these industries, whether it was insurance industries, whether it's sporting industries, the cotton industry and everything. We built these industries up with the labor off of our back. Back then free, now we're getting paid, but still, it's like when we build them up, they say, well, what more do you want? Mm-hmm. We want ownership.
Right.
Is that wrong? Is that asking for too much?
Yeah.
No, I'm asking you as a fellow Black man.
No.
Seeing that generation after generation, we're building these multi-billion-dollar industries that's getting TV contracts and media rights and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, 70% players ain't good enough.
Yeah,
I'm not saying push it up to 90. Yeah, we want to be diverse, but we're talking about ownership roles.
Mm-hmm.
We got to wait another 50 years for that?
Just ridiculous.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it needs to start with the coaching in the front offices. And I keep hearing the things with Roger Goodell because he works for the owners, so he can't really do too much.
Yeah. So
all he's going to do is keep coming with his politically correct BS comments about how the league is developing and this, that, and the third. That's why sometimes when I hear the stuff about, like, women and how we're developing that, well, I think you still got something to do over here with the people of color. I think you might want to work with that first. Because you got a big problem and you ain't addressing it, and it ain't going to go away. It's not. So, we'll see, man. You know what I'm saying? So I think it just makes me sick to my stomach, and it is just what it is. So, we'll see. We'll talk more about this because we're going to have them, like I said, I look at some of the coaches that have no business being coaches. Mm-hmm. I can think about one. I can think about one in Atlanta that we should have never hired to begin with. Because now we're set back for another 3-4 years. I can assure you. And now it's just bad. It's bad, man. It's really bad. I just think about that. And even I think about it. Terry Fontenot is black. I mean, what were you thinking? Arthur Smith? Really? What, did he get to like a Super Bowl or something that I don't know about?
So let's venture over. We still got a lot of NFL to talk, but we'll touch on that in another podcast. Yeah. But let's venture over to the NFL.
The NBA, you mean?
I'm sorry. Correct. Yeah. The NBA. Let's venture over to the NBA land for a few minutes.
You want to talk about the Three Stooges? That's what you want to talk about?
I'm going to frame it correctly.
Okay.
So there's going to be a couple instances. I'm going to outline it. So we're going to touch on free agency. We can't go. There's many moving pieces in the free agency.
You mean the trade deadline?
Yeah, that came and went. I'm talking about the winners and losers of free agency.
Yeah.
So we touched on this like our very first podcast back in July before the season started, months ahead of time. And the clip's out there, thousands of views on our Twitter and social media account, where we talked about player empowerment with the Brooklyn Nets and how 3 players might have ruined it for the next generation of young players. We talked about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden and what they did to the Brooklyn Nets back in July. The season didn't even start yet.
Yeah.
And people were looking at us like we were what? Crazy. And what happened word for word in that podcast?
Everything I said, yo, they're gonna have to get rid of him. You just gotta cut bait, start all over, and show them like, yo, you ain't playing. And the Brooklyn Nets did exactly what they had to do, because I forgot what happened. Right. Kyrie was playing well. Durant was out, but Kyrie was playing well. And Durant came into the season trying to hold that over his head. Well, if Kyrie ain't here, I'm going. You can go. And they finally did what I said back then. Back then. You can go. Get out. You can go. You weren't. Let me be honest. If I was Sean Marks sitting across the table, the minute Kevin Durant said, I don't need Sean Marks here, I'd have been like, well, guess what? We don't need you here either. Because last time I checked, when you were OKC, you couldn't win a title. So, I mean, we kind of gave you what you wanted, because Golden State wasn't going to do that. No other franchise was going to do that.
That's their team in Golden State.
Right. So you went to somebody else's team and won a title. And you running around here talking like you were great. You were a great player. Don't get it twisted. But he came into this season with demands. And the thing was, and I knew it was coming. Now, let me tell you what I'm about to say. So you want me to start, and this is where it's going to go. I'm going to start with Kyrie.
Okay.
So he starts playing well. And I started laughing because
we knew what was going to happen.
I knew what was coming. It's like what Stephen A. talks about the Cowboys. What can go wrong will go wrong with Kyrie. It never changes. It's nothing personal. I don't know the brother. Never met him before a day in my life. Personally, I think some of the things he does is great for humanity, but you're also an a-hole at sometimes, and you need to be checked about your behavior. And I'm not talking about something personal. I'm thinking about those young black men that's going to come down the pipeline.
They're going to feel
suffering from your behavior. So anyway, long story short, he decided to request a trade by the trade deadline. He's playing well. Everybody's like, oh, this is the Kyrie we've been waiting for. He's been keeping quiet, blah, 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 blah.
And overnight,
he switched. I knew it was coming. I said, here we go. You do not fail me. You do exactly what I know you about to pull. So what he does, he says, I need a man to trade. And Brooklyn gave it to him this time. They didn't say, oh, let's worry about Kevin Durant, how he feels.
Did you see the package they got for him?
Yeah. It wasn't.
Did you see what was the team that traded Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves?
Oh, Utah.
Utah got a haul for Rudy Gobert. Mm-hmm. Camera, sports heads, NBA ball players. The Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge got a haul for Rudy Gobert. Now, I'm not disrespecting the players that the Nets got, because they got some good players. But that trade package for a all-star level Kyrie was lackluster. And it's no disrespect on the return, on the ROI. But what we saw Utah get for Rudy Gobert, you was thinking he was going to get some multiple first-round picks.
Yep.
Another all-star player, maybe a third team get involved.
Yeah.
They said, no, go.
Yeah, we just want you out.
What did you say?
I said, yo, you can go.
You say, yo, I'm going to send him near you. We'll get you on the back end. Yeah. I love that clip.
Yeah, we're going to get you in the back end. Don't worry about it, because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. He's going to do because great things.
They didn't offer him no extension.
No, he's going to do great things, and he's going to play his heart out for Cuban, and he's going to make Cuban believe this is the guy I want to build with, and he's going to show his ass again.
In the offseason.
Yep, he's going to show his ass. And then it was funny when he was in the press conference, he said, I did everything I was supposed to do in Brooklyn. What? Excuse me?
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith talked about that.
What did you do in Brooklyn but make a mess, cause drama?
Did they get out the first round one time?
No, and one time, but that was without him.
In 3 years?
Matter of fact, they had a better team before him and Durant got there. They gutted that team that was a young and upcoming team because they thought they had championship players coming.
And what did I say as a Celtic fan?
Yo.
I disliked it when we had to gut the team, when we had Isaiah Thomas, when we had Avery Bradley, Jay Crawford, and others surround. This is newsflash to you teams that have young, talented players and draft picks. That whole win now mentality is out the window because you done gutted your team for these star players, and they start showing their ass in 1 or 2 seasons, and you said, wow, I just traded away that up-and-coming 24-year-old that has such a good trajectory, that's good in the locker room for this a-hole. And we traded not one, but about 5 pieces with draft picks.
Yep.
Now look at you. I said this. People, oh, what you trying to say? Isaiah Thomas is better than Kyrie? And I was like, it's not about being better. It's about team chemistry. Because that's what's missing in sports. People forget it's a team sport. Outside of scoring a basketball, there has to be other things involved. And you know this as a football fan. Yeah. There's locker room stuff. There's off the court stuff. And what does he suck at? All of the above outside of scoring.
Facts.
But go ahead.
To give you an analogy, from football analogy, there's a 30 for 30 talking about the Ravens' greatest team, one of the greatest defense ever in the year 2000. Right?
Ray Lewis.
Right. And I never forgot when they let go of Trent Dilfer to bring in Elvis Gerback, because they said, we're not going to win the next year how we won this year. Right? They thought going to get Elvis or Gerback, we're going to move the ball more. But if you move the ball more, then the offenses have more opportunities to attack Baltimore's defense. And you know what happened? They made the playoffs, and they got knocked out in the second round. So let me go here. And it was Elvis Gerback, the great Elvis Gerback, that was going to get you further. The same guy that was crying on the sideline, that couldn't handle being a leader. And then the next year, he just quit. So to go to your point, it's the quality of place. Back then, and I get it, it's Kevin Durant, it's Kyrie Irving, but you saw the red flags. With Kyrie Irving, you saw the red flags. He won a title with LeBron, and he's so selfish and cocky. He was like, I need to go win with my own team. Okay. That didn't work out in Boston. And you had massive talent in Boston.
A lot of young talent that we see that were the first place.
Then you
shout out to the Celtics. And shout out to our coach who just has been named a permanent coaching position, man.
Right. And then he goes to Brooklyn, and the minute he got there, he showed his ass. He showed his ass, and he didn't think twice.
He said something to the effect of, I think we're all coaches are all equal, because they asked him something about the coaching. He said, well, we're all on the same level, or something to the effect.
Yeah.
We're all on the same level.
And then the thing is with, now, and then Kevin Durant, he ain't guilty. He ain't innocent either, because then they sent him packing. And the thing about it was, he was like, well, if you get rid of Kyrie, who is you? I pay you. You don't tell me what, like, yo, you gonna leave. You leave when I tell you to leave. I'm telling you, if
he still got 4 years on that contract.
If I was Joseph Tsai and I had the money, I would have just paid. You gonna just sit your ass right on the bench. Matter of fact, don't even come to the arena. You gonna watch the games. What you gonna do about it? And if you wanted to, we can just sit and wait till labor agreement, and then I'm gonna really show my ass.
Then I'm gonna start deducting out of your contract.
Facts. I would have been. If I was Joseph Tsai, I wouldn't trade him nowhere. I'd have been like, you gonna sit your ass here, and you gonna show me how you can flex, because that's what a boss does. And then I would have said, where you gonna go? Who you gonna play with? Do you want to go to the Y and play while you're getting paid millions of dollars, and while all your friends are getting paid, and by the time you get out of this contract, you're gonna be over the hill,
because he still has 3 more years.
And I'm gonna sit right there at games watching your 30-something-year-old ass behind, trying to keep up with these young boys, and you ain't gonna never win a title. Matter of fact, your legacy gonna be crushed, because nobody's gonna ever say you great. I would have dared him. I would have been like, you ain't going nowhere.
And this is.
But I get why they did it. They pushed them out. Yeah.
But what have we been talking about? Player empowerment.
Right.
I'm telling you guys, all you sports fans, all you ball heads, 2024 is right around the corner. It's next year. When that collective bargaining agreement, when they have to go behind closed doors.
The owners are coming.
The owners, what do we say? Our first 3 podcasts, we were banging on the table saying the owners are coming. And when we picked the clip out, people was laughing. Ha, ha, ha. What, you don't think that the Nets is going to do their thing and they ain't going to win and prove you guys wrong? Well, here we are. The owners are coming next year. And guess what they're going to have? and big red letters on the board. Look at the fucking Brooklyn Nets.
Yo.
When they start asking things about their demands, because the player's going to have their demands, whether it's shortening the season or the play-in, the players are going to have their demands, rightfully so. The owners are going to have a list of demands because there's players on 4 or 5 year contracts over the last 5 to 7 years that have been forcing their way out of contracts by leaking stuff to the media, coming to fucking Brooklyn out of shape. James Harden.
He's another one.
Yeah.
Did you hear him in his when they went to go play? He's like, yo, I saw a lot of dysfunction in Philly. Really?
You were part of it.
Because no.
You were in the studio with Little Baby eating fucking honey buns.
No, you're right, but you're wrong about the timeline. You mean Houston?
Yeah.
You mean when he showed his behind after they gave him everything he wanted,
players and money and
everything, and he still showed his behind.
Yeah, he was in the studio with Little. I never forget the interview where he was like, it was Little Baby's birthday after the game, and I couldn't miss it because he was in the so I left the game and went straight there and stayed up to 5 o'clock in the morning knowing there was a game the next day. That's where your head is at.
Millions of dollars.
So yeah, you were that dude.
Yeah.
You're about to be all these younger players coming up. That old James Harden scoring 38 points and 17 assists. Them days are over. And you got Joel Embiid. And nobody really cares. When is the last time he's been in the discussion for MVP?
I don't remember. I don't
not with
remember.
Nikola Jokic, not with Jason Tatum coming and all these bad young athletes.
And let me go here because
who actually care about the game.
Facts. And Ben Simmons is next. And let's not forget about him.
The only thing saving him is he's on the remaining 3 years of that contract. Okay. So he's gonna sit there for 3 years.
So the thing is like, don't think we didn't see when you was over there playing like, fashion guru. And talking about you ain't feel good, but you was coming to dress up every day like a fashion show.
I got my thoughts on him, but that's a whole nother topic.
And you was playing that game about your mental illness. Now, mental illness, I never joke about it. We've had family members and friends that have been through mental illness. You, my friend, are a bad example of that.
Let me go here real quick.
Yeah.
So there was something that came out today, and this is why Ben Simmons needs to be shamed. I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about wanting to improve as a player. So there's a player on the Spurs, and I forget his name, but he dyes his hair kind of like how Dennis Rodman used to do it. He's a forward. And all you have to do is look this guy up. So the last couple of years, his free throw percentage was 49%, meaning he's like the bottom of the barrel free throw shooters. Now, when you're in the league trying to keep a job, shooting 49% ain't going to help you. So he got with a shooting coach. He starts shooting one-handed free throws. You're going to laugh, but guess what his free throw percentage is?
What, 80?
The dude is shooting in the 80s.
Wow.
Like he's up there shooting, and you go from 49% to 80%. Now, guess what happens? I can give you more time as a coach because now if you get fouled in the fourth quarter, I know you're going to shoot 80%. Right. You just up your fucking draft stock. That's how bad that kid in the Spurs wants to stay in the league.
Right.
He said, I'm going to get a shooting coach, and he figured something out in the offseason. He shoots one hand. He went from 49 to 85%. That's how bad he wants it. Do you think Ben Simmons is figuring something out?
Nope.
Because they showed highlights of him 2 seasons ago, and he looks completely lost now.
Yeah.
Whether he doesn't want to be there.
He's just getting paid.
Yeah,
and he's showing up
$25 million a year.
Showing up with a fashion show.
$25 million a year. And you can't figure out. And it's not like he's in his 30s. He's like 26 years old.
It's one thing when a team is under load management and they're making you sit. It's another thing when you're just literally showing your ass. And that's what all 4 of these guys did.
I can't.
All 4 of them did it.
I never seen a basketball player. Usually when a basketball player backslides like this, as we saw, it's always due to injury. Meaning I tore my ACL, so now, like when Dominique Wilkins tore his ACL at the end of his career, and he was no longer that Dominique Wilkins.
Yeah.
Or when Jamal Mashburn back went out, and he was no longer Jamal Mashburn. Or when Tracy McGrady back went out, and he was. That's when you backslide.
Yeah. We
have never seen a player who's 6'10", who was like a 17 point, 10 rebound, 8 assist guy, backslide at the age of 26 with no major injury. I'm going to say major injury. This is like a effing case study.
They went to Brooklyn and they might have made the league backslide for the players.
That's what we're getting at with this segment.
They literally made everything bad. Kyrie made it bad. He's gonna make it worse. Don't worry, it's coming. All you gotta do is just wait. Just wait for it. It's coming. He's gonna be on his best behavior right now. Till Cuban says no, or until Cuban's foolish enough to give him an extension, he gonna show his ass, right? Then you got what's his name? You got Durant. Now he might have to humble himself, but he's not gonna pull that game out in Phoenix. He's not gonna play that same game. They're not playing with you.
They got a good coach over there with that coach.
If you want to be like, well, I want this and this, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Well, we're gonna get your ass up out of here. You can go find somewhere else to go be a diva. And then there's the James Harden. He know he's on his license because he ain't acted up at all. The minute he went to Philly, he knew. He said, "Yo, I can't ever do that again." So, and then you got Ben Simmons, who he's just collecting money.
He's about to be out the league.
Don't worry, money's gonna run out. Then what you gonna do? What fashion show you gonna have then? Where you gonna go? What you gonna promote a fashion show? What you gonna do then? Good luck with that.
So, and real quick, because I didn't mention the name, but shout out to Mazzulla, the Boston Celtics. That was the coach name. But other parts of free agency, just so that we're clear before we go to there. Basically, what we're saying is player empowerment. You might as well crumble it up, throw it in the trash bag, and say Kobe.
Yeah,
like player empowerment is done.
Yeah,
but
it's one thing. Like it's different. Like LeBron, Wade, and Chris Bosh. Like because owners think it's
that
like
was a different time period. We're talking 12 years ago.
I get you. I get what you're saying, but they're thinking like players like LeBron. Like if LeBron asks you to bring somebody, you see, even though LA is not looking good, do you ever question LeBron playing?
Nope. His
commitment, right? AD, it's not even really commitment. It's just his injuries. It has nothing to do with his commitment, right? That's what the owners think that they're getting. That's why they gave him what they wanted. Then they saw the bad side of it. So I think with the CBA, what they're gonna have to agree upon is like, yeah, we get what you're saying, but we also saw this. So just to negate that, this is what's gonna be in writing. Just in case you want to have an epiphany and talk about how smart you are and everything, you ain't gonna get this. We're gonna take everything from you. That's gonna be a wrap. The minute you want to act out like that, he's Kyrie Irving is the NBA AB. That's the best way I can put it. Just wait. If anybody gave AB a shot right now, I guarantee he's gonna show his ass again. He's gonna do it again. He can't help himself.
So I want to talk about a few other teams before we go to our last topic. I'm rocking a Celtic jersey. I'm a diehard Celtic fan. Okay. We're still holding on to the #1 seed. Joe Mazzulla getting named as the coach. I don't think people understand how good it is because we had that Ime Udoka stuff looming over us. And now it's like it's permanent. So now the players can really buy into it. Go ahead.
As a side note, which, by the way, the Celtics handled horribly. And also, they showed there was also some very horrible racist behavior, but I'm going to leave that alone for right now.
Yeah, so I think quietly, behind the scenes, they agreed to something that didn't leak, but they agreed to something with Udoka. We'll find out later.
Oh, we will.
With free agency, they picked up a stealthy pick. I want to pronounce his name right. I want to say Muscala. We picked up a person. I was like, yo, who's this cat? Comes and starts shooting the leather off the basketball, man. Stretches the floor. It was a very underrated pick. Added depth, and shooting. So look out for that pick for the Celtics, who are still in the first place in the East with the best record in the NBA. And as a Celtic fan, you know I love it, man. That's an underrated pick, but our rivals over in the West Coast, I want to touch on the Lakers real quick. Speaking about LeBron, orchestrating some things with free agency, that Mike Beasley and D'Lo pick, getting D'Angelo Russell over there, very underrated pick for LeBron James and the Lakers. They talked about it today on ESPN. I'm not saying that they're going to shoot as far as up as the 6th seed, what I think Stephen A. Smith was saying he wants them. But I wouldn't be surprised if they get the 8th or the 7th seed and scare somebody in the 1st or 2nd round, man. Speaking about free agency, because we talked about LeBron James, kind of orchestrating some things.
Yes.
What do you think about what they did to kind of, I want to say, save Showtime? I really think that this move saved Showtime
With
because
the D'Angelo Russell.
not just D'Angelo Russell, you got Mo Bamba on the bench, and trust me, guys, I know I'm a Celtic fan, and I know it makes us sick to give Lakers their props, but just real quick, 7-foot Mo Bamba on the bench, which is very underrated. You're going to have to watch that in the playoffs. Mike Beasley, which is a great shooter from the Timberwolves, and they got a good defensive piece in Vanderbilt. This looks like a total different team than the last year and a half, and then addition by subtraction. This wasn't Russell Westbrook's fault. I'm not going to go there. But by trading Russell Westbrook, addition by subtraction. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think it was a good trade. I think I think they can compete for a playoff run. I think that's what's most important because I think that let me talk about the Lakers real quick because I know we
got a few minutes.
It bothers me in a sense of because I was hearing rumors that they kind of weren't happy. I think they wanted to make a certain trade. I forgot the trade, but it was going to bring some player that LeBron wanted. No, we gave you AD, and we've given you Russell Westbrook, and you need to sit here and you figure it out. Because I think they were saying something like I forgot what the GM was supposed to pull a trigger on, because he doesn't want to give up those picks.
You need those picks for the future.
And they kept, and LeBron wants to say, after them picks. Well, I think you need to show me, which he has, but you need to show me like what commitment you got. Because I'm not going to give up my picks and gut my team. Because you know what he's seeing? He saw over there what happened with Brooklyn. I'm not going to that position. I'm not going to that. We're not dealing with
Especially if after next season, I think is his contract up after next season?
Yeah, after next season.
And he says, I got a year or two left. I might want to go somewhere else for 2 years.
Yeah.
No, we need to be in prime position with you and without you.
Yeah.
But like the picks that I named, not the picks, the players, Mike Beasley, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, Mo Bamba off the bench. I don't want to gas it up because I'm a Celtic fan, and I don't want people saying, oh, you a traitor. They're going to do some sneaky damage in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they get their way all the way to the Western Conference Finals. And this is coming from a Celtic fan, but how far do you think they can go?
I think they're good enough right now. They're going to get to the number 4 or 5 seed.
That's high up.
I think they'll get to the 5 seed. The highest, I'm sorry, is the 5 seed they'll get to. But the Lakers will get in the playoffs. They will. I can say that. I don't know about anything else. I don't see it. They destined because the thing is with AD, it's with AD. He can't stay healthy, and he had this problem in New Orleans. Now they did get what they needed out of it. They got a championship, but this
is why people criticize that championship, and I know all rings aren't equal. The reason why that worked out for everybody, you got a 3.5 month. You had 3.5 months to rest.
Yeah,
that's like an off season.
Yeah,
you're healing everything. Your knees get the pressure off of them. Your back, like you probably losing weight. You're in shape.
Yeah, you
got 3.5 months off, man. Now 3 years later, what have we seen from AD as far as staying healthy on the court?
Injury.
He'll have a good game where he has 34 points and 8 rebounds and block shots, and then he tweaked the ankle. And I want another player, and I don't want to talk bad about this player, but I want Zion Williamson to really pay attention to what he's doing with his body.
Boy.
You do not want to turn into Anthony Davis at the age of 21.
Yeah.
You tried it your way, and I'm telling you one thing right now. Hamstrings are a very sneaky injury. Your hamstrings ain't right, your quad ain't going to be right. Your quad ain't right, you start tearing knee ligaments. You are as good as shape that you look. You look excellent. You looked excellent until this hamstring aggravation. But you're still 280 pounds. I know you think you can play at this weight, but your body is telling you something different. You're going to have to come down to about 270, maybe 265. Get with a nutritionist and figure it out. Because you're looking in 4 seasons, 3 seasons?
Great.
In 3 seasons, you haven't played a full year yet.
Yeah.
And as good as you are, you're close to looking like Anthony Davis, young player. So you're going to have to figure that out with your nutritionist, your training staff, and really get your body in super shape. Can't do it at 280 for 82 games, man. This ain't college. It ain't 27 games in a playoff run.
Facts.
So there's more that we're going to talk about in an upcoming podcast with playoffs and NBA and all that other stuff. But we're going to stay on topic as far as the collective bargaining agreement, and we're going to keep saying it. The owners are coming. And these players done squandered a golden ticket opportunity for the young players coming behind them.
Yeah.
Those young players are going to go upside your head, man.
Yeah.
Got anything else before we talk about the last topic?
I'm just going to say once again, just wait for Kyrie to start his mess again. I don't even know how, Jay Williams, he's like, yeah, I kind of see what Kyrie. I was shocked anybody could find a defense for him. For those 4 bozos that gutted the Brooklyn Nets, that's why they're trying to build that super team in the WNBA now, because they didn't already suffered on the back end from this.
Yeah.
Because it looks bad. It looks all around bad. And just real quick, all I just want to say is that Kyrie, Durant, Ben Simmons, and James Harden, they are all the main cause. Because when I think about it, nobody else is really acting out like this. It was just them 4.
Did you hear anything about the other teams in the league and other players?
All in Brooklyn.
No.
And, Kevin Durant talking about, I don't want Sean Marks or Steve Nash. You asked for them to be there. And now you want them out. I know Joseph Tsai was looking like, why am I even talking to you? Like, I don't even want to talk to you. Like, you a clown, man. We couldn't have been owners, man. You would have had me in the office and you're like, yo, Durant want to talk to you. I'd be like, all right, man. And then he talked to me. He'd be like, yo, I don't want Sean Marks in here. I'd be like, what? I'm like, yeah, I don't want Steve Nash. I'm like, you told us to bring him in here. Well, I don't want him in here. Okay, well, I can ship you out. Like, trust me, karma is a funny way of it's always what you taught me when I want to get flip mode. You're like, karma has a funny way of coming back. And my whole thing is with that situation with Phoenix, just sit back and wait. I hope they win because of Chris Paul, but there's a part of me that's like, yeah, okay.
Well, I'm going to leave it on this before the last few minutes. As far as Chris Paul, I think as ball players, as basketball player fans, we would like to see him win 1 ring.
Right. Facts.
But if you can't win with Devin Booker, who's an all-star, with DeAndre Ayton in the inside, who's able to give you 20 and 10. Devin Booker, we saw him go for 60, 70 points. And then Kevin Durant, when healthy, can drop 35 points on 50% shooting.
Yeah.
And I mean win like this year or next year. That's your window. If you can't win, then don't know what to tell you. You might as well hang it up.
Yeah.
So let's travel from NBA land to the last topic. We talked a whole bunch of sports, but as always, for the people who really know us, we do a lot of hip hop content.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hip hop stuff I'm gonna talk about in the upcoming weeks, but this topic kind of disturbed me. So there's an incident surrounding the passing of a young artist from the Migos, the kid who got killed in Houston. Yeah. Takeoff.
Right.
Rest in peace to Takeoff. Condolences to his family. So the hip hop situation happened in the media surrounding Houston, Texas, and could I say I want to word this correctly. The infamous mob ties, Jay Prince, because he's been in the industry behind the scenes since the 80s. This dude has been going on interview after interview after interview after interview after interview after interview as a 50-something-year-old man just antagonizing the same situation.
Oh, yeah, talk to me.
Went on $1 million worth of game, talking about, what Quavo should have done with Offset, this and that, and like threatening him, trying to take the light off of that man died in your town that you're supposed to be running, that your son was at. For some reason, when bad shit happens in Houston, your son is always present, allegedly. But you're trying to get the heat off yourself. I think more what pissed me off is the lack of respect that a 50-something-year-old man, as a black person, when somebody died in your city on your watch, that you had enough nerve to be in the media doing a media run while his family is grieving. How far from grace have we fallen as a community in hip hop? This is why I wanted to talk about this. There's another part that I'm gonna talk about in the upcoming stuff. When we first started this media run, what we're doing back in 2010, I used to could tell you all the underground artists in every freaking region. New York, Florida, DMV, Cali, Colorado. I used to could name them all. But now since hip hop is oversaturated, it's like I can't tell you what's going on underground because everybody's a rapper. Everybody has a movement. So they talked about, you know, how hip hop isn't, the cachet isn't quite there, and we're going through a drought right now. So we're going through a drought, and rappers, you know, obviously we're seeing them die from various causes, whether it's pills, whether it's gun violence. The last thing we need is this legacy mob ties still trying to hold on to the old way. You know how you talked about the Patriot way?
Yeah.
And you said the Patriot way needs to go out the window?
Yeah.
This BS in hip hop with this checking in and friendly extortion shit needs to go out the window.
Yeah.
What message are we sending to the younger youth who already has a problem respecting our elders? But what message are we sending to them by keeping this bullshit going?
Just ignorance and stupidity and more stupidity. There's
so many things happening in hip hop that I don't think that people are paying attention to. Like, I'll just name some stuff. Like, you better watch it close because other genres of music is gonna like foreshadow hip hop very soon. And when I mean soon, I'm talking about within the next 5 to 10 years. There might not be hip hop as we know it, but y'all worrying about checking in, going in. But then we see, you know, what's happening. Then you're getting an immediate run.
I wonder does Post Malone have to check in? I don't think he has to do that. You think Justina Valentine has to do that? Yeah, I don't think she has to either. You know, I don't think.
I just thought it was very interesting because I'm like, yo, before these guys never used to talk. When is the last time let's go through just 3 years ago? I never even knew how this dude looked. I never knew how. You just heard about him, Jay Prince. Ooh, it was the cachet.
Yeah, he's a legend from rap. He's
Hear me. I know who he is.
Right,
we didn't know how he looked because he stayed behind the scenes and shut his mouth.
Right.
This dude done did 5 interviews when his family is still grieving about their son getting killed on your watch.
What is he saying though that you find offensive?
Dog, he's up there talking about, oh, I know the real business between what's his name, Offset and Takeoff, and who are you to try to da. He's putting stuff out that has nothing to do with the death of this young man. We still want to know why this is like somebody from out of town in Jersey saying, yo, we're coming to Albany, New York, and we're going to do a media run, and we're going to check Enveonline, and they get in our studio and something happens to them on our watch.
Right.
And then instead of us handling the situation the way it needs to be handled, we're on YouTube talking about X, Y, and Z and what the family should do. This is disgusting behavior from a 50-some-odd-year-old legend, air quotes, because I still don't know what you did for hip-hop, but whatever, you know.
Yeah. I mean, he brought out the Scarface, the Ghetto Boys.
Yeah.
You know,
Scarface is still going to be Scarface, but I understand what you're saying because I know about the old money and from the 80s and 90s.
Okay. I just think it's sad all around, and I keep hearing that check-in thing. I have a big problem with that because I know people that don't look like us that don't have to do that. You think Jimmy Iovine has to check in anywhere he steps foot in?
Nah.
Jimmy Iovine doesn't. I don't even think he's made so much money off of black music, and I don't think he's ever had to check in anywhere.
I just, you know, what everything going on with hip hop and the direction it needs to start trending in quickly. Like there needs to be a PSA for hip hop because it's about to go into water.
Yeah.
Please tell me outside of our legacy acts that mean you like, you know, obviously the Jay-Z's and Nas, what hip hop artists that you see coming that you know of that's under 25?
Other than Simba? No.
Yeah, I know Simba from the West Coast.
I'm
a big fan of Simba, but don't know anything else.
Nope.
So that tells you the oversaturation of everybody being a rapper. Like, shit's about to get bad real quick in hip-hop land. So unless we start being innovators and coming up with some creative shit, we don't need this Jay Prince shit right now.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring that up very quickly to touch on it just from my perspective.
It's ignorance is stupid. Check in for what?
It's not just the checking in. It's, like I said, it's just the ignorance of him doing a media run when there's a black family grieving a death over the son, and he ain't deserved that.
Yeah. Because they
like
said
that video footage.
They said he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
That P&B footage still haunts me. When I see him crawling on the floor, like
literally dying,
trying to get his life. Like he's trying to breathe. Yeah, like my God.
This is where hip hop is at now.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we see rappers dying, there hasn't been nothing positive to talk about, and that's what's scaring me as a hip hop head who's 36 years old. I'm like, damn. Outside of the deaths, what have we been? You remember back in the days when I used to be like, yo, hey, you heard that new Fabulous mixtape?
Yeah.
That Fab mixtape was crazy. And we used to talk about mixtapes.
Yeah.
When's the last time we did that?
It's been a while.
Years.
Time, yeah.
Like,
it's been a long time.
It's not that mixtapes aren't relevant, just like who's putting them out that we even care about.
Yeah. The music is not,
It's not hitting the way it used to be. Outside of battle rap, which is carrying hip hop, I think is one of the most important elements. Shout out to RBE. That's Rare Breed Entertainment. That's a good rap battle league that's doing great things for hip hop culture. Mm-hmm. I think they're innovators. That's something positive that's like kind of carrying hip hop right now. Because outside of battle rap, I don't know what's exciting in hip hop. Shout out to RBE, man.
It's so pathetic. I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, it's not much to say, man.
Jay Prince, all this stupidity. Like even when I see the interviews now about, shout out to Art of Dialogue too. I like I like his work. But when he's interviewing certain people about Sugar and them, they was like, they was running around and checking people and doing all this. You checked on who you could check. Because let me tell you,
this is why I said when that barber knocked him out, like that cachet is gone.
That and you didn't ever check Jimmy Iovine.
You keep bringing that up.
You ain't checked Jimmy Iovine. No, let me go to a better way. Even though he's a rat, you ain't checked Jimmy Henchman. How come when y'all came to New York, did you go looking for Jimmy Henchman? Why you ain't go looking for him?
Because them watches would have came off.
Yeah. Why you ain't go check King Tut?
The necklaces would came off.
Or or Haitian Jack.
Oh, them Rolexes would have came off.
Yeah. You didn't really want to go check them because they who they say they are. Whatever the outlaws people had and all that, nobody cares. Because what's funny is, and I'm going to say something that's kind of a little offensive, because I won't say the names, when you got done in the studio, you got mad because somebody wouldn't tell you who it was. You knew who it was. Mm-hmm. And y'all went and hid. Nobody tells that part of the story. I'm going to say that one more time. Something happened to somebody. You know what I'm talking about. This situation,
everybody
right?
knows what you're talking about.
And when it happened, you went and hid. And they sent a message saying you can't do nothing about it. What you gonna do? And you did nothing but go to another side of the country, waited for somebody else to come to that side of the country that had nothing to do with it, and play tough guy. Just want to leave that there. That's what we dealing with. So sometimes when I hear these guys about checking in and all that ignorant and stupidity stuff, I mean, it's on such a bigger level. It's just all propaganda. You ain't really who you say you is. You pick on dudes. Rest in peace. You picking on Andre Harrell, man. You're not gonna get no points from me from that. Some of them dudes I knew that was in there, like, when you came on the East Coast and you was talking like, I saw these people and these people. I'm gonna say this once again. I don't remember anybody in Haitian Jack's crew saying that somebody ran up on them from that squad. Mm-hmm. Not one. You stayed within the industry because that's who you could pick on. So I think, like I said, man, it's just the ignorance and stupidity. And at the end of the day, this comes down to the point you've always made. Y'all killing each other and y'all don't see it. I don't get how y'all gonna win. Y'all keep killing each other. Yeah, what's the point?
The end goal?
What's the end goal?
Hip hop music from what we knew. Not just the golden era. I'm even talking about the young internet era, the 2005 and 2010.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting so, like, I'm literally outside of Simba, like you named, outside of, local acts that I know here in Albany, outside of Griselda from upstate New York and some other cats from Rochester. I'm like, what's coming? But those guys that I'm naming, no disrespect to them, they're all older. Griselda's my age. I'm in my late 30s.
Yeah.
These ain't cats that's 25.
Yeah.
And it's no disrespect. I'm not playing ageism. They're older.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Homeboy from Rochester. Like, his name is slipping my
38 Special.
38 Special.
You've put me on him.
He's older. He's not, and it's no disrespect to nobody over 35, but these cats, come on, dog. We around some cats that's 20, 21 in sports. You think they know who 38 Special is?
No.
You think they care about Benny the Butcher, who's my age, 36? No. Who's the young cats in hip hop that's really putting on? I know Young Boy, but that's commercial. I'm talking about underground shit.
Yeah.
Hip hop needs to get it together because, right, we're like 5 years of going. If hip hop doesn't do a U-turn and really get innovative with the stuff we're putting out, we're close to being on life support. Yeah. And I'll leave that there.
Yeah, because some of that music is garbage. It's just, I mean, oh my God, I don't even let my son listen to it. I'd be like, why? What are you saying in this song? You're not even telling a story. You sound horrible. Jesus.
But yo man, you got one more?
Yeah, one more thing. So, as I thought about everything we be talking about, and because of everything that we have been going on. Physically, personally, we haven't really been able to shout out the HBCUs. Okay. So I think I kind of wanted to bring this up as a shout out. And shout out to Jackson State's women basketball coach, Tamika Reed. Okay. Tamika Reed. I'm hoping I'm saying her name right. Jackson State is at the top of the SWAC conference in the women's basketball. She's won 9 straight with her most at this time right now with her most recent victory. Over Bethune-Cookman. But they won 9 straight and at the top of the conference. Also,
which other one we got shout out, and I'm gonna let you go.
Also, shout out to Alcorn State, who's won 5 straight in the men's for the SWAC. They're 11-2 in the conference, and they're 14-11 overall. Shout out to Coach Landon Bussey. He's doing his thing over there. Also in the Meek, shout out to Morgan State's women basketball coach, Ed Davis Jr. Right now, they've won 9 straight. They're undefeated in the conference and 16-6 overall. And also, shout out to the Howard's men's basketball coach, Kenneth Blakeney, who's won 8 straight, and they're 8-1 in the conference and are 16-10 overall. So I just wanted to shout out those 4 coaches because, we always talk about, at least with the Division ones that, have a chance to go into the tournaments and everything, they need to get recognition. And, as time goes on, we're going to give more and more credibility and recognition to them.
Got one more. Okay. Give me 1 second. I had to clear my throat. I want to get everything.
Let me also say this, too. Shouts out to Kimberly Anderson from Mississippi Valley State. Right now, they're going through a rough time with the team. I mean, they haven't had a conference win yet. But I watched them the other night when they were accessible to watch, and they don't play like a winless team in the conference. They're doing. I mean, they got some wins, but in the conference they don't have a win yet. So salute to her for what she's going through and sticking in there, hanging in there, and doing the best that she can. And the team is still playing competitive. Just want to say.
So we're gonna end it on this. One more team that we have to shout out for HBCUs because we covered the CAA conference for football, but I've been watching in basketball, and I've been saying all year, I've been tweeting 2 teams to watch for is NCAT, the women's team, and the basketball team. Go Aggies. That's one of the HBCUs that got moved up to the CAA conference. Shout out to the head basketball coach, Terrell Robinson. He has the women's team in 2nd place. And they was at 1st place at once, but them and Drexler going back and forth. They're at the top of the conference in the CAA as a HBCU, which is huge. And the recognition they would get if they win that conference and go to the tournament would be unbelievable. Big. So I want to shout out because obviously I've been researching them. And it's one of the schools. I put your son. It's one of the schools I thought about going to grad school for to get my master's in my education online, because they got a very good online program. But shout out to the women's basketball team, NCAA, go Aggies. The head coach Terrell Robinson. He has that women's team rocking, and I really think that they can take the conference and go to the tournament. Go Aggies. Got anything else, man?
No, that's it.
All right. So it was fun being back after being gone for 3.5 weeks. You know, we had COVID,
rusty, but we back.
Whole bunch of personal stuff, COVID, but we back, man. Appreciate everybody tuned in, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. We're gonna keep rocking. So we're gonna end it like this, man. Salute to everybody tuned in. You're rocking with your host, Deshaun, aka Son of a Jones, one half of Enveonline.
His other half, the outspoken partner, Azar Johnson.
Appreciate you. God bless. See you next time.
One. See, how do you think we did?
What? That was good.
Yeah? Okay.
I like that you brought that paper.
Oh, yeah.
Something that clip up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, dope. Yeah, I seen you put that up.